Okay, so Bo Nickal is on record saying that Ilia versus Alexander Volkanovski 2 is in the works for April UFC 314. This is a big letdown for me. I don't like this matchup. Again, I don't like this rematch. It is really paining me to see this announced. It was the only thing to expect after Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez got announced. That is still the stupidest matchup of all time for me. But going into this matchup, there's only one thing on my mind is that Ilia is going to do the exact same thing he did in the first fight and knock out Volkanovski in a destructive, horribly brutal way that's going to make me very sad as a big Volk fan. All around, a rematch right off the gate is just not what I wanted out of Ilia next defense, and it's not what I wanted for Volk. I wanted to fight for Volk to get his mojo back, maybe against the Mavzar, something like that. A winnable matchup that is still impressive that could get his hype back so you can have an actual cool matchup between these two again. There's no hype to this fight at all. The only narrative going into this is that Ilia is going to knock him out cold and it's going to be sad and that Volk's washed. That's the only narrative going in after his double KO losses that I don't blame him for. Ilia is amazing and the first one was a week's notice, but it's just not, it doesn't look good. In the meantime, we should have did Ilia versus Diego Lopez and then Volk versus Mavzar, and then we could have had the winner of that go against the winner of the first one, and it would have been perfect. But instead, we are giving Volk the rematch. I understand why the UFC is doing it. They owe him for saving that card, and he was very dominant, probably arguable GOAT of featherweight. So I understand it. It just it's not the matchup I would have done it right now, at least. And I just want to go over a little bit of something. Bo Nickal is the one reporting on this, and I have some words for Bo Nickal. I think he's a big, huge loser, and I think that he's going to get fraud checked soon. And I think he's way too arrogant at this point in time. And we're going to go over this. Bo Nickal thinks that he would completely demolish Hamzat Chimaev and would be a crazy favorite. He thinks he'd be a negative 1,000 favorite like he has been in every one of his other fights if he fought Hamzat. He thinks he would take him down, ragdoll him, throw him around. He thinks he's not very big at 185. He does get tired. I'll give Bo Nickal that. But this is delusional. After what he did with Paul Craig, if he thinks that Hamzat Chimaev is going to be a cakewalk, he is going to be sorely disappointed with the outcome of this fight. I would see blatantly, clearly, Hamzat bulldozes him. That's just my opinion. I've been saying that a lot about Hamzat recently. I don't even love Hamzat. I picked Whitaker, but he would beat fucking Bo Nickal after what we saw Cody Brundage. I know it was one-sided. I know Bo Nickal won clearly, but Cody Brundage had his little wrestling moment. You can't have that against Hamzat. Hamzat is not Cody Brundage. He will not let you do that to him. He's a monster, and he is a pretty big 185er. He's not small. Like, he made Robert Whitaker look easy work on the ground and just in general. He looked way bigger than him. Why does Bo Nickal think he can do anything against Hamzat right now? I would stay a little bit more humble if I was him. I get the talk. It adds hype to his name. But what you have to have a little bit of, you have to show it a little bit. His performance against Paul Craig was lackluster, boring, and just shit all around. That's not the performance you want to have going into the hype up of this potential matchup. It doesn't line up. It doesn't make any sense. I hate it. And Hamzat kills him, in my opinion, so it doesn't even matter. Bo Nickal will get fraud checked. Mark my words. I think it'll happen before he gets to the Hamzats of the division, but we'll see, I guess. With that, we also have this matchup. Before I go back into Volk versus Ilia, we have this. We have Bobby Green versus Mauricio Ruffy that's been announced. This is a huge matchup. Very hype, very sick. Bobby Green coming off of a submission loss to Paddy Pimblett. Very catastrophic, I would say, very bad looking finish. To have that as your last performance is not good going into a fight against a finisher like Ruffy. It will be a it will be an on the feet battle. Luckily, this will be a fully striking battle, I guarantee it. Unless Bobby Green wants to shoot another stupid ass takedown for no reason. But in this matchup, I have Ruffy winning this matchup. Ruffy did show a lot of holes in his last fight against James Lontop, but he did show an instinct for finishing, an ability to dodge and weave in a weird, awkward ways that work really well, and he finds his shots very effectively. And the damage that Bobby Green's been taking recently in his career is not boding up, like, it's not adding up well to go into a fight against a finisher like Mauricio Ruffy. Bobby Green, his last couple performances, Paddy Pimblett, that was horrible. Submission, broke his arm or something, dislocated it maybe. Jalen Turner, that finish was way late and definitely took some years off of Green's life. The Jim Miller performance was actually pretty good. Or he didn't take that much damage in that fight. So, going into this fight, I'm taking Ruffy by finish. I think he'll be able to chin Bobby Green. He's very chinny. He's not James Lontop. That dude does not get finished. And Mauricio Ruffy hit him with some hard fucking shots. Those shots knocked out Bobby Green bad. I will say Bobby Green's better than every other opponent Mauricio Ruffy has fought, especially in the striking department. But I don't see him getting far if he does get caught, and he will. He'll get caught at least once. And Ruffy does have a good chin. I don't see Green finishing Ruffy. If finishing potential wise, it's Ruffy all day long, and it will be a finish for Ruffy, I think. I don't see it going to a decision with the chin Bobby Green has. And even if it does, Ruffy, like, he won the fight with Lontop because of power over output. And I don't think that's something Green will be able to handle in this fight. So yeah, that's a cool matchup that I like. They're really shooting Ruffy up the rankings pretty quickly, so that's interesting. But I like that a lot. Back to this. Do I have anything else to say about it, really? I think after this, it's the best back-to-back-to-back fight streak of all time for Ilia Topuria, I would say. But the rematch it's not spicy enough for anything cool. He needs, for me, the coolest outcome of Ilia Topuria's title reign is a potential matchup with Islam Makhachev at 155. To do that, I think you need 2 more defenses. And Volk rematch isn't the defense that gets in there, in my opinion. So this is just a hype killer all around. It doesn't make much sense. And I see a flash knockout for Ilia Topuria early. Probably, I bet Volk survives a little bit longer than last time, to be honest. I bet he'll survive to the 3rd or 4th. But either way, Ilia Topuria is going to chin him. And it'll look brutal. And it'll be sad. And there'll be a lot of mixed feelings that day because I really like Ilia Topuria. But this is what they've decided to do at featherweight. And yeah, it's kind of like gay. So yeah, that's about it. I will see you soon. Like and subscribe. Maybe.